this is Takeaway Teacher with you, your Takeaway Teacher, today talking about reported speech. So to start with, what is reported speech? Let's look at these two sentences. He said, I know you. And she said that she knew me. Can you see the difference between these two sentences? One is a direct quotation, exact words of this person. Yes? I know you is exactly what he said. I am not adding or changing anything. This is called the direct speech. But I could also say it in my own words, okay? Which is, she said, or he said, that she knew me. And when I say it in my own words, I need to change the sentence. I need to change the sentence that he or she said. So I will not be using the exact words the other person said. I will make some changes. So as you can see here, we're using the quotation marks to say these are the exact words. And here we just rephrase. We change the structure of the sentence because we are saying the same thing with our own words. So there are certain rules by which these transformations happen, and every verb tense has a different tense which it transforms into from direct speech to indirect, to the reported speech. Okay? This is called direct speech, and it's very easy to use. Just put inverted commas and you have it. Yeah? The difficult thing to do is the reported speech, because we have to follow certain rules to modify that sentence. But stay with me and you will see it's not as difficult as it looks like. As we were saying, there are certain rules for transformation of the direct speech into the reported speech. But before we get to look at those rules, let's pay attention to how all of the sentences start. If you look at them carefully, you'll notice they have the same beginning. They always start with she said, or we said, or I said, or they said, or somebody said, or you said. Okay? And that is very meaningful because it has always an identical initial structure, which determines the main verb tense, the verb tense of the main sentence, the verb tense of the main clause. So it all is encapsulated in the same kind of clause, and that tense is past simple. So every time we are working with reported speech, every time we are making a reported speech sentence, every time we are writing or saying a reported speech sentence, you have to bear in mind that all of that information is looked at from the past simple perspective, from the perspective of the past, okay? It's all what somebody said in the past, okay? Bear that in mind and it will help you find the logic to those transformations. Come with me to the examples. Example 1a is direct speech, and it's, she said, I need help. I need help, as you probably already have noticed. This one is present simple verb tense. Let's see what happens to it when we transform it into reported speech. She said that, which is not obligatory, but we can use it if it helps to separate the sentences mentally. She said that she needed help. What happened here? We've transformed present simple into past simple. Why did we do that? What sense does it make? Well, it makes sense because the perspective is of this sentence. In the beginning, in direct speech, we have a separation between the two sentences. We have she said as one sentence. We have a separation between the two sentences. We have she said as the first part, I need help as the second part, and they have this separation, the speech marks. Okay? Now we've taken the speech marks away and we are blending the two sentences together. So we need to blend not only the meaning of the sentences, but also the structure of the sentences. How do we blend the structure? Well, we adapt this verb tense to the main sentence, which is she said. She said she needed help. So we have blended the two sentences into one. And now we've transformed what was present simple in the direct speech into past simple into reported speech. Next example, she said, I am working now. As you see, we've changed the verb tense. And now we have a present continuous. Am working is present continuous. So what will happen to present continuous? Well, obviously, we transform it into past continuous. I am working now becomes she said that she was working then. And as you can see, now becomes then. Because when she said it, then, at that time, she could say now. Because the thing was happening at the moment. But it's not happening anymore. And we're just trying to say that the thing was happening then. So, present continuous becomes past continuous because it is contemplated from the perspective of the past tense. Example number 3, she said, I wrote him a letter. She said, I wrote him a letter. As you can see, this one here is already in the past. This is already past simple. So what does it mean? It means that when she said it, yesterday, for example, when she said it, if she said it yesterday, this was already in the past yesterday. So this happened before she said it. So this is an action in the past before another action in the past. And you should remember what tense we use for actions in the past that happen before another action in the past. We use past perfect, had written, because this is an action in the past that happened before another action in the past. So when the direct sentence is in past simple, we transform it into past perfect. Next step, and a very similar one, is for A. She said, I have done the homework. I've done my homework already. She said it in the past. And this happened before. It's a more recent past, but for the reported sentences and for several actions happening in the same sentence, we don't really care how much of a distance there is between the two actions which happen in the past. So if there is an action happening in the past before another action happening in the past, we will always use past perfect. So we use had done again. As you can see, this is present perfect and this is past perfect again. So the transformation from past simple and present perfect into reported speech are the same. Both of them become past perfect. And again, as I was saying, there's a logic to it because it's an action happening before another action, before she said it. This had happened before she said it. This had happened before she said it. The only difference is that this had happened long before and this had happened not so long before. But we don't really care how long, okay? So, summarizing, present simple becomes past simple. Present continuous becomes past continuous. Past simple becomes past perfect. Present perfect also becomes past perfect. And all of them make sense if you think that this is retelling the information from the perspective of a past action. Okay, here we've got some more examples. These examples were in the future in the direct speech. She said, I am going to read it, and she said, you will hear it. Very easy, because again, we are looking at those from the same perspective, from the perspective of the past. And because we are looking at those from the perspective of the past, really, the structure transformation is going to be very similar. If you look at the structure of this direct speech sentence, you will see this, I am going to read it. As you know, this is a structure for expressing near future. But how do we transform it into reported speech? How do we look at it from the perspective of the past? Well, we will do to it the same we would do to a present continuous tense, okay? We will just, I am going, we will transform it into she was going. We will transform it into she was going. So she said, from the perspective of the past, blending, that she was going to read it. Okay? So this here, am going, becomes was going. It's exactly the same as present continuous into past continuous, only this is a fixed structure for expressing future, near future. And this one, she said, you will hear it, okay? The transformation is only for this verb, okay? From you will hear it into I would hear it. As you see, we changed the subject also because probably she was talking to me when she said, you will hear it, and now you are telling that she told you, you will hear it. But because this is me talking, she told me, you would hear it. So I'm telling you, she said, I would hear it. Okay? So this is why we're changing the subject, because obviously I am retelling the idea she told me. I am retelling the information she gave me. So as I am retelling, I'm also changing the subject, because when she said you, she meant me. So I say I. Okay? I think you should not have any trouble with those, because as long as you focus on the perspective of the past, you will find the logic in them. And to start with, it would be very useful that you remember what tenses are transformed into what other tenses in reported speech. But as you practice, it will become natural to you.